Not a thing. But we are already back live because somehow things happen where the buttons get pushed. You can tell we're on it today, Andy. It's a Monday morning
Hey,
off day with Ballpark Nation.
just like the team that we are claimed to be fans of, just going through the motions at this point.
Go going through the motions. But hey, we're grateful for the New York Mets. And that's the thing. That's where the Astros are when you're leading your division is you don't really need to win. You just need at least one. You need one of two good things to happen. And at least twice over the weekend, the Mets beat the Mariners. So for as much as the Astros did suck this weekend, and boy, did they suck, they are exactly in the exact same spot they were Friday morning.
Yeah, to say the weekend was disappointing would be an understatement, and I don't think it's necessarily that you lost the series to a sub 500 team. It's that you look completely mystified by three pitchers, the best of which had a 4.5 ERA coming into the game.
Yeah.
We almost had a perfect game thrown against us on Friday night. We lost by 2 touchdowns practically yesterday and managed to hang on for a win on Saturday. This is the second time or third time in the last couple of weeks that we've been blown out by 10 plus runs too. So the Astros are in it, but only because the Mariners right now are sucking wind just as badly. Thankfully,
Just as badly. Yeah, I mean, there's no real inexplicable way to explain it except that not only are both teams, the Mariners played a team over 500, but a team that has been the worst team in baseball for the last, I think, 30 games. The Mets. The Mets at one point were the best team in baseball. I forgot the exact stat. And then once that they hit the apex of that, then they've been the only team that's been worse over the last 45 games or so have been the Nationals. And then the Astros, of course, have a very underachieving Baltimore Orioles team. Both of them are going to take a big step up in competition today, too. The Astros have the Tigers, the Mariners have the Phillies. But again, Andy, you just need one good thing a night to go your way if you're the Astros.
yeah, and that's the weird thing about this season. I don't want to say frustrating because it has worked out for us so far. For whatever reason, they tend to play up to their competition. Um, we saw it going into Los Angeles with a injury depleted team and sweeping the Dodgers with basically a Sugarland roster. We've seen it against a number of first place teams and highly competitive teams where the Astros looked like the baseball team we think they are. It's just so hard to imagine they're going to do it after what we saw this weekend when they were mystified by some guy from Lumberton.
Yeah.
That the rest of the league has figured out, by the way. This isn't like he just got called up.
Right. Yeah, he's not he's not exactly out there dominating like Jim Cat from the day. No, it's weird, man. And I didn't know that there were rednecks from Maryland, but there are rednecks from Maryland. One guy was there. One guy was very excited because his group was yelling, "Let's go, Brandon!" And I think that's also supposed to be a
And they got confused.
clever way to make fun of Joe Biden. Snicker, snicker, snicker.
I have found in my travels that once you get out of major cities, there are pretty much rednecks everywhere.
Rednecks are everywhere. Oh well, that makes sense.
There is nothing quite as rural than parts of upstate New York, for instance.
Sean Dubin needs to never ever pitch again.
Yeah, remember when some idiot on this show said that he would get chances to be the seventh inning guy coming back? That person was dumb.
No, that person was believing his minor league numbers, which were good.
Yeah, I don't. We have a hole, and I guess we should talk about Josh Hader a little bit. I think what the news we got over the weekend is the best possible scenario because he's not going to require some surgery that keeps him out for a year. But we're not going to see him again the rest of the regular season. And from a closer standpoint, Brian Abreu's fine. Bennett Sousa's not consistent, but Bennett Sousa has never been consistent. So you're going to take what you get with him as your setup guy. But there's a giant hole for the 6th and 7th innings on this team right now. I mean, so much of a hole, like the hole you're looking at with Jim right now, where he just disappeared in the middle of the game. So now I'm left to talk about myself. The bullpen is going to be a problem. We saw it yesterday when Javier went out with his illness. Is the whole team sick now? Pena missed a game and almost 2 games, but was able to pinch hit because he had bubble guts, I guess. Is that going around? Conspiracy theories on Twitter and Blue Sky. Jim is just literally not coming back. I think the Astros have disappointed him so much that you're going to watch me scramble here. So let me figure out what I can talk about for a little bit. The news on, like I said, Josh Hader is good, but he's not going to come back the regular season. If the Astros make the playoffs, which I still think is going to happen, they are going to be a team that might see him for 1-inning stints every couple of days. Playoff schedule kind of allows that to happen. We'll see how that goes. Brian Abreu in his opportunity this weekend to get a save, got a save. So that was good. And again, with Bennett Sousa, you're going to take what you can get. And it's maddening. And this has kind of been the story of the Astros bullpen in the second half. There are guys who look completely lights out. Okert Saturday looked really, really good. And then the next game he might not. Bennett Sousa looks really, really good one game to the next. And then the next game is he can't get a guy out. And it's the inability to throw strikes is what I see. When Sousa's bad, he's not throwing anything across the plate and nobody has to swing the bat. When he's on, everything's going right at the bottom of the zone and he's fooling guys. You're just not going to know what you're going to get until he actually shows up at a mound any given game. And that's the world we're going to live in for the rest of the season.
Speaking of that world, because there is some good news coming, but do you get the feeling or that maybe at one point it's too much is too much? Like it's too much duct tape. It's too much, we might get Hader back for the playoffs. We might get Paredes back for the playoffs, but at some point there's a breaking point to how much of this you can really sustain.
Where do you even play Paredes at this point? I mean, I know we're going to talk about injuries and, a guy that's potentially going to come back, although I was driving when you texted me about Jordan, and I just wanted to send the Anchorman gif of I don't believe you, because I don't believe he's actually going to show up. I believe he'll probably get some good cooking down in Corpus and decide not to come back or something, or have his knees surgically replaced. Whatever it is that happens to Jordan, I fully expect to happen, as long as it doesn't involve him showing up for the Astros. I just don't think that's a thing. I think you've got to be realistic and ask yourself that, are we to that point where everything bad that could happen has happened and you just can't overcome it? I don't know yet. The thing is, we're still in first place in the division. We're still in a playoff slot. If the playoffs started today, we'd be playing. So it's not dire. We're not the A's, who are playing very well. I know it's a bad example. But they've got to figure out something. We've been saying all year, the offense has to figure out a way to be consistently scoring runs. And there was a wonderful stretch in like the middle of June through most of July where they did that. And then once towards, the end of July hit, they just stopped and you didn't know what you were getting. Pitching carried this team for a very long time. The bullpen carried the team for a very long time. And the bullpen has been kind of shitty for a lot of games. Now, I know that is the game's out of hand, so we don't care if Sean Dubin or Chas McCormick, our new 7th inning guy, is going to carry the load. But we haven't been in enough games to show our prime bullpen to even see what they can do in a while. And I'm saying this knowing we won the 3 series before this dick stepping that happened over the weekend.
Yeah, and I almost like, Baltimore has been playing better. They did take 2 of 3 from Seattle as well, but you're right. They're still Baltimore. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to have that kind of vibe to me. Fromber was bad again. And then not only did Fromber have the ability to be bad again, but he decided to run his mouth in the media again. And like, I think we had always taken a lot of pride on the fact that the Astros were at a minimum went about their business professionally. But not only did Fromber run his mouth in the media again, but Joe Espada got a very logical question from Chandler Rome and chose to storm out of a press conference over it. Like, it does seem like, and it, of course, it's easy to try to look at things from 1,000 miles away and interpret things, but there seems to be cracks starting to show.
We can talk about Espada a little bit. I think he's over managing as a reaction to all these things. He has, and I know hundreds of years of baseball history at this point, but he is all on the lefty-righty matchup, to the point that we're wholesale exchanging outfielders. I mean, the entire outfield in parts of games now, because he's got depth on the bench, and it almost feels like the YMCA where every kid's got to play. It's seventh inning, so we better put everybody in now. There are guys, regardless of what side of the plate they're hitting from, that are better players than some of the guys we're putting in right now.
Definitely.
And it just feels like he's grasping for straws like everybody else. So, I guess I commend him for trying. But at some point, great managers, and I'm going to include Dusty Baker in that, know to win, just give a guy a little bit of a leash and let him figure things out at the plate. And I don't know that Espada has that in his tool belt yet. I'm not saying he can't develop it, but his thumb is very heavy on the scale right now, and he's part of the problem. And I'm sure that's frustrating for him. Fromber, to me, is a teenager who's what they call dirtying the nest before they leave for college. He's not going to be here next year. I don't, at this point, want the Astros to try to re-sign him. I'd rather just give him the qualifying offer so we get a draft pick, but then wish him well and show a video whenever he shows up in the ballpark sometime in the next 2 seasons. I have been on and off the Fromber train for a couple of years now, but I just can't stomach anymore as a fan these innings where one thing goes wrong and it just snowballs. You knew when he didn't field that comeback or whatever the hell that was, and if he had just let the ball go, it was straight to Dubon, by the way. Straight to Dubon for an easy out. He puts his glove on it. That's a reaction play. It doesn't go his way. You knew 4 runs were going to score when that happened. And there was nobody on base when that happened, but you knew it was going to get that bad because that's what happened to Fromber every game.
Literally what happened to him in Boston his previous start. So
yeah, it's not like he's going to learn to field his position at 30 years old. It's not like he cares to learn to field his position. He looks like a baby giraffe going out fielding any kind of ball, and Lord knows where he's going to throw it. If I was in a playoff situation where it was really important, I was facing Fromber Valdez, I would bunt. I would bunt 7 guys in a row until he figured it out, because I guarantee you 5 of those guys would get on base.
Yeah, and then not backing up his position, like the team is in a rut, and you can't let little things like Fromber not backing up his position is not why the Astros lost that game. They almost got a perfect game thrown against them. So that wasn't it. But again, to not back up your position, and to then say, I can't control if it's a fly ball or not. Okay, fine, fair. You're supposed to be a ground ball pitcher, but whatever, shit happens. People have a bad day at the office. But then to say I can't control where the throw is going, which is a direct shot at his left fielder, to me, that's the inexcusable part of all of it. He has been bailed out by his defense plenty of times in his career. To the few times it's failed him, keep your mouth shut.
Well, and the bottom line for me is that in 3 months, he's going to want to be paid like an ace. I don't want the Astros to pay him like an ace. He's a 3 guy now, maybe. And he's just going to get older, so I don't know that that's going to get necessarily any better. He's on the roster the rest of the season. He is our second best pitcher by default, but there's a big gap between Hunter Brown and even his 3 or 4 start struggles in the middle of the year and what he's able to do with this same team behind him and what Fromber's doing right now. And Hunter Brown also knows enough to keep his mouth shut about the way the defense is positioned behind him, especially if you're not going to bother to cover home plate. It's Little League 101 shit that he just doesn't do. That you aren't a team leader if you just zone out in the middle of a defensive play.
Yeah.
You're just not.
That ball sits to the outfield, you should be immediately going to home.
Everybody, who doesn't know that?
And then, again, for Joe Espada to then storm out of I don't know. I mean, the optics just look all over the place. And I understand, too, that, that's a knee-jerk reaction and you win 3 games in a row and all that's fine. One thing that I've been pretty impressed with, despite the fact that he nearly shit himself yesterday, though, is Christian Javier really has not missed a beat. He let the first 2 runners score that he faced this year, but really has pitched really, really well since then. And it does look like, the Astros might actually have an asset once he gets fully stretched out.
Yeah. It occurred to me that maybe when your starting shortstop is on the bench with the bubble guts, you don't run his Taqueria Arandis commercial in the middle of the game. Maybe that's a and I don't know that bubble guts is contagious or if it's airborne, but clearly something's going around. Maybe they went together for dinner. I don't know. But yeah, Javier, it's been a pleasant surprise. It's been pleasant that it didn't take him 3 years to get back to the mound. B, that he seems to have a baseline of good performance to work off of, and he's just going to get stronger as the season goes along. I don't expect him to only give up 1 run in each appearance or anything like that, but be a guy that gives you 6 innings a game.
Yeah, give me a quality start.
Yeah, he can be that guy, and the Astros desperately need those guys. As much as I'm amazed by Jason Alexander, I don't know that you can count on that for the rest of the year. Maybe you can. You get lightning in the bottle and great. But Javier is supposed to be one of the franchise's workhorse. He's one of the pitchers we actually decided to give an extension to. That has happened twice, I think, since Crane has owned the team. One of those was Lance McCullers Jr., the other was Christian Javier. You can understand why we don't do more than 5-year contracts a lot when you see those results, but Javier has been a very pleasant welcome add back to the roster, and hopefully good things continue for him for the rest of the season and beyond.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see Luis Garcia this week, who can continue whatever he's doing in the minor leagues because it seems to be working.
Well, and I do want to get to the minor leagues in a second, but we are back to the story of the Astros aren't hitting at home anymore. And, on the one hand, I think the batter's eye thing is an excuse and it's dumb. But on the other hand, it does look like the one at Dyken Park is smaller than everyone else's everywhere else because Jim Crane wanted more seats. I mean, at some point, is there something to it?
I mean, it's easy to say because it's not my money, but if it were me, I'd ask Yordan Alvarez what the issue is because he has trouble with the batter's eye. I'd ask Jose Altuve. I'd ask Carlos Correa now that he's back with the franchise. I'd ask Alex Bregman because he'll talk to anybody even if he's not playing for us. What's the issue? What would you see differently? And then I would go do those things. And if it costs you 500 seats, it costs you 500 seats. If those 500 seats, you're going to keep them, but those fans have to wear black to every game or they're not admitted, I don't care. Something has to give because we've seen season over season. I know it's anecdotal, and I'm sure our stat-oriented friends are going to chime in and say, well, no, they hit just as well, blah, 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 blah. We can see that they don't hit as well at home as they do on the road. We can feel that. I'd ask those players what needs to be done and then do it. And seats be damned. You can literally charge an extra $1 for every seat and make up the difference.
Yeah. It just, again, ours looks like I know that they thought it was the color, but the size is different than it is in most of the other ballparks that I've visited. And again, maybe there is, like you said, there might be some stats that I'm like, well, actually, technically it's the same square footage or whatever. I don't know. It looks smaller. And I don't see a lot of other ballparks with seating at that level. But whatever. It's not like the Astros haven't lost 2 key playoff series in the last 8 years based on an inability to win a game at home.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. They have.
Yeah, and I hate to be all doom and gloom right now, but nothing that happened this weekend would prevent somebody from feeling doom and gloom. It's yay, Jesus Sanchez caught a couple balls in right field to prevent it from being 19-0 instead of 12-0. I guess 7 runs saved.
But a strong arm and a strong or clean fielding and strong arm on Saturday night means we're probably still playing that game right now. Like the one in extra innings that they won and I was at, and it was my last home game of the year because I did sell all my tickets to for the betterment of the team, or I'm selling
anybody who would take them.
Yeah. Anybody else take them. But look, Jordan, we'll end the Astros segment on some positive notes. He's going out for a rehab assignment on Tuesday. I've seen guesses that he will probably be back in the lineup in Dyken Park when the Astros come back home. What do you want to see out of him in Corpus?
What I want to see is just absolute domination. I want every exit velocity to be 110. I want the outfield wall to be broken. I want the scoreboard to be inoperable. I want outfielders not to even bother to turn their heads other than to marvel at how far the ball went. Because that is the only thing that's going to fix our offense, is having a guy in the middle of it that every time he comes up to bat is going to hit at least a double. I don't know that Jordan exists. And I don't know if, I don't think Ohtani is that guy either. So nobody like that exists. Stay healthy, I guess. If I'm Britishing it down and lowering my expectations, take your at-bats, don't get hurt, don't feel any pain, come back to the roster before the 1st of September. That would be the best that we can hope for at this point. And again,
you think it's going to be more than you think it's going to be a 2-week stint? You don't think he could be back next week?
Oh, I think he could. I think he should. I'm just saying at this point, if we get him back for the last 20 some odd games of the season, great. If it's any more than that, great. I just need him to not be hurt anymore.
Right.
And if he can, take what he plays, not tonight because the minor leagues don't play on Mondays, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's super convenient when you're trying to run a baseball travel show.
Yeah. It's just fucking stupid anyway. Guess what? People have free time on Mondays too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess Tuesday night in Corpus, hit the ball. Don't immediately grasp your hand after you swing the bat and say, ow. That's literally the minimum expectations or hope that I have at this point. You've got to get him back in the lineup as a threat, because I think he's just going to make everybody else around him better. I think you can finally finalize the lineup and Espada can stop guessing at what he wants to do. I don't understand the world where Carlos Correa is a 2-hitter, frankly. Maybe it works out. Maybe there's stats that say there's a better way to organize this lineup. There is no world where Jesus Sanchez is your cleanup hitter or your number 3 hitter, but that's where he's been playing for the last several games.
And 0 for his last 21.
Yeah. So, of course, you shove him up farther up in the lineup. It's the overmanaging.
No, I mean, you're right. I do think there's an overmanaging. I think you are seeing, and it's easy to forget that Joe Espada is still a guy growing into this job, that this is only we're 3/4 of the way through his second year as a manager, so he's also dealing with certain level of, or certain issues that his predecessors didn't deal with this team with it mattering that, we all remember when Lance McCullers, 6 or 7 years ago, tried to show up one of his infielders and then try to give a high five to Altuve, and Altuve chose to chew him out at the dugout steps rather than give him the high five. Like, we remember, the team is it's got a different vibe now for whatever it is. And Fromber's allowed to run his mouth without having any kind of, any kind of consequences from within the clubhouse that we know about. So it's a different set of issues that Espada is dealing with that Dusty didn't deal with and that AJ didn't deal with.
Yeah, losing is frustrating. These guys are professionals. They want to win. They talk the right game. They say the right things for the most part. Fromber being the big exception to that. But there's, I think the interesting thing will be probably next year how that clubhouse leadership evolves, because Altuve, while I think recognized as a team leader, isn't vocal. Correa very much is, but I think it's hard to come in mid-season and insert yourself in that role. We've seen a couple of instances. I think he's taken special attention to Christian Walker because they've hung out on the field and they have their own secret handshake after a week.
Yeah.
But there's stuff like that I think over time fixes itself. Correa fills that leadership void, but I think it also creates some more questions. So if Pena was going to be that leader, how does he interact with Correa now, and who has that role? Do they figure out how to work it together? That's the chemistry part that you're not going to see on a stat sheet about 26 guys getting along and pulling in the same direction. And I think that's ultimately what the frustration is. It doesn't feel like the entire team's pulling in the same direction right now. And not to say all that would fix the offense, but I think it would go a long way towards guys understanding what their roles are, understanding what they need to do, hopefully getting to a world where we never see Chas McCormick pitch again. Although, again, he might be our seventh inning guy now. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, he looked pretty effective yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. And Christian Walker continues to frustrate, and you and I know continue to be a fan and have confidence, but it does feel like he's either going to go 2 for 4 with a couple of RBIs or he's going to strike out 4 times. And it doesn't feel like there's an in the middle with him right now at all. And it's I mean, he's the most predictable at bat right now that if he gets down 0-2, it's a strikeout. It might be 3 pitches. It's there's nothing more predictable right now than that.
But without Yordan and with the shuffling we're doing at the front part, you're forcing him into a fourth, usually hitting cleanup or hitting higher up in the order than he probably should at this point in his career. Ideally, he's hitting 5th and probably 6th at this point.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different pitch profile that you're seeing in the 6th hole. Yordan coming back fixes some of that problem.
How many games do you think the Astros should give Yordan in Corpus? Because to me, it's like, he always mashes in Baltimore. I'd like to see him play 2 games with the Hooks, give him a day off, and then see him starting in Baltimore on Friday.
Yeah, I think there's this weird world where people don't expect him to come back until we're back in Houston after this weekend.
He's not a pitcher.
But I don't see that player. I don't see the point in that. I think that if you get him 3 starts in Detroit, that he's on a plane to Baltimore. That's 3 starts while the Astros are in Detroit. If I'm just trying to guess what the Astros are doing, we're in Detroit for 3. Have an off day, yes or no?
No, it's not an off day. It's a 4-day series. So I would have him just skip that first game against Baltimore.
Yeah. So by Friday, I would expect him to be. If it were me, I'd want to see him in Baltimore with the team.
Yeah. So just looking at the probables. I guess, well, let me actually go to ESPN because they do a better job of projecting out the probables, because I don't want to sit here and say you've got a lot of you're the pitching that you're going to be seeing for Baltimore going to be pitching that's going to be more favorable to him because Baltimore's pitching just shut us out. But the reality is Detroit's going to throw good arms at him. I understand not wanting Yordan to jump back in after not playing since May against those arms, but I think he can go against a guy named not Maury Povich, but wouldn't that be cool? With a 5 ERA on him. He could be going up against this Kremer guy that has 4 ERA and going up against something named Rogers, who's a reliever, but he's got a good ERA. But my point being, he's going to be seeing minor league pitching in Baltimore. And you're not we can move out. He's not going to play the field, right? Like he's going to be your DH all the time. So what's the point of why let him languish there unless he just really wants to go to Snoopy's? And I get it. Snoopy's is good fried seafood.
Well, it is another interesting part of this is Jordan's going to come back and be the DH. Where do you play Altuve?
You have to play him back in left field.
But he hasn't. I'm struggling to remember when's the last time he was in left field.
He was in left field for 3 innings on Saturday. No, I mean, I get it, Andy, but you're not going to risk Jordan playing the field's a non-starter, I would imagine at this point.
100%. I'm not saying that you should play him in the field. You've got 2 guys for 1 spot. And you can make an argument that Yiner should only be at DH too, because he's maybe the worst catcher in Major League Baseball.
I don't know if Tim's watching today. He usually does, but Tim, our friend San Antonio Tim, talked about it on Twitter. Like, we have to move. Yonder Diaz cannot be the starting catcher for this team next year. He is a defensive liability and completely hot and cold with the stick, but he is uncompetitive back there.
I mean, it brings up an interesting point. It's really premature, but the Astros are going to have to move some players off the Major League roster based on who's coming back at this point. You've got Correa. You're not going to get rid of him. You're certainly not going to get rid of his contract. Paredes comes back at some point, maybe this year, but definitely next year. He's not a second baseman. Correa's not a second baseman. You've got Cam Smith in right field, who is technically a third baseman by trade. Can you move Walker and his $20 million a year? Do you move Diaz and re-sign Victor Carantini, or let Walter Yannick come up and take his lumps at the major? I mean, there's a couple of guys I see that need to be moved off the Major League roster. As much as everybody loves Mauricio Dubon, for instance, Urias is basically the same player with a little bit better bat.
Yeah.
So if you like this roster, and God love you if you do, but if you like these guys, you might want to go out to some games for the rest of the season, because you might not see several of these guys next year.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'd hate to think of the idea that they're going to bail on the Christian Walker experiment, just because I still do believe that guy could be good, but I do believe he's going to be the odd man out. I think you can teach Paredes to play first base.
Paredes has played first, but he played first base in Tampa.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm not worried about that necessarily. It's just you have a bunch of guys that are infielders, and you only have 4 spots.
Yeah,
and Pena's got one of them. Correa's presumably got another, so you've got 2 spots for like 3 other guys. Altuve is not a full-time second baseman. There's a lot for Dana Brown to figure out in this offseason.
And I don't see moving Paredes to second base seems to be the conventional wisdom. But I mean, I could be wrong, but also too, like 2 leg injuries in a row, you want to make sure that you're minimizing how much you're exposing that dude to. I mean, the fact is, Andy, we're going to be getting an old baseball team next year, and there's going to have to be a move to start getting younger to either keep this window open or open a new one.
Yeah. And, realistically, I know that there are people that are watching this that are screaming at me right now. Yonder Diaz might be an attractive piece for some team. I don't know who, because
I don't know that anybody that's watching this show right very now.
Hey, there's 20 people.
Yeah, but I don't know that any of them watching. First of all, Zach Beeson, who's a friend who do the Astros trade out. He's not an Astros fan. Do they trade Altuve for some pitching in the offseason? Absolutely not. The thing that's about to become the big ticket draw for the Houston Astros is going to be exactly what it was when number 7 was doing it, and that's going to be Altuve's quest for 3,000. Yeah.
And I think that's part of our head scratching is you've got to figure out a way for Altuve to play every day, because he's got to get 120 to 150 hits every season, because he needs to get 3,000 as an Astro. That's why he has the contract he has right now.
Yeah, 100%. And that's going to be the big ticket draw whenever the Astros do, in fact, eventually go through some kind of real downturn. Because, by the way, they're not going through a downturn right now. You and I sound doom and gloom because we watched some crappy baseball over the week, but I don't think either one of us think that they don't have as good a shot to get to the World Series as any other team in the American League right now.
Yeah, there's nobody in the American League that's playing lights out baseball right now. I mean, the Tigers and Blue Jays might be the best 2 teams, but I'm not scared of those teams, if that makes sense. And we get to see both of them in the regular season before playoffs start. So starting with the Tigers tonight, the Astros kind of play up to their competition when they can. So we'll see how they respond to the absolute turd they laid against Baltimore this year or this past weekend.
I tell you what, though, these blowouts have really done a number to the Astros, the old run differential. Because that sucks now.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's down like 25. It's like plus 25 now. Hey, but you know what, Andy? I mean, none of us necessarily super duper, but there is at least going to be college football played this weekend. Looks like the only team in the top 25 that's playing will be Kansas State locking up with Iowa State, but still, college football's back. It's gotta feel good, right?
That old Big 8 matchup, Kansas State versus Iowa State. For those of you that long for the days of regional football networks and conferences, there you go.
There you go. Is
Colin
Klein still playing for K-State? Is he still running?
No, he's actually the A&M offensive coordinator offensively. So weirdly enough, is it just me or is August 23rd a little bit too early to be playing an actual regular season game for college football?
It feels entirely too early. Football's a fall sport. I understand the need to want to get as much squeeze as much milk out of that particular tit when it comes to money, but football's a fall sport. And I mean, I feel like, you know, I got offered a chance to go to the second game of the Longhorns this year. And there's something about standing in Darrell K. Royal, Texas Memorial Stadium, watching Texas take on San Jose State in 105 degrees. It just doesn't really scream football to me. So I'll pass. I'll see you in November.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to a football game in September, but it is criminal, and I say this completely seriously, for any TV network to schedule any game in the South, but especially in Texas, in the daylight hours. All those games should be 6:30 starts or later. I don't care if you start the game at 8 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. Nobody should have to stand out in that to watch a Power 5 program, Power 4 program, whatever we're calling it now, play Wrong Way State.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, the Longhorns, the even worse than that is at least that game against, you know, San Jose State or wherever that is starts at 11 on the 13th of September at 3:15. UTEP rolls to town. 3:15 in Austin, Texas. That's got to be on the field a heat index of 120, easy.
Well, yeah, that's we at least open with UTSA, we being A&M, at 6 o'clock at night on the 30th. Not a horrible matchup. UTSA is a decent enough team. So it should be an interesting game. Again, not played under the sunlight. My key. The next week, we get Utah State at 11:45 in the morning. If a hurricane hasn't rolled into the Gulf, because it is September 6th, flip a coin.
Yeah.
Who in the world wants to go see Utah State play A&M at the hottest part of the day?
Nobody.
There'll still be 90,000 people there.
Oh, I know.
We probably won't have lost a game yet. I'm going to knock on wood there. Probably won't have lost a game yet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. And it's to me, it's old man yells at cloud, but I don't understand how you can have a college football game happening before students report to class, and students report to class after Labor Day weekend. And so, you know what, you want to start at Labor Day weekend? Fine, do that. But having them this weekend coming up just seems like a big miss for me.
It's so weird that the state schools in Texas don't have like a unified start date, and I get they don't have to, so whatever. I was in Denton moving my daughter into her dorm. They start next week. So what is that? The 25th of August?
That's early for college too. It's even earlier than.
But University of North Texas, I found out, which is why all the traffic was happening in Denton, starts today.
What?
Yeah. And they were some student was trying to justify it to me. Well, it's not great, but we get the entire week of Thanksgiving off. Guess what? All of your teachers cancel classes that week anyway. So why do you
I was
care?
going to say, I know that technically speaking, you have classes Monday and Tuesday, but Andy, how many times did you go to class Monday and Tuesday during Thanksgiving week? Because I went 0 times.
When I was happy with my parents, I went home the Friday before.
Yeah. 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 Well, and I think I mean, this is a weird conversation to have, but there's a big push in the tourism industry in Texas, but in other states to formalize high school start times or school start times, to be after Labor Day, because it's actually starting to negatively impact the tourism industry here in the state of Texas. So maybe we'll see all of that get formalized, but what do I care? I'm only going to be a teacher for another year after this. So I guess I don't.
And then you're independently wealthy. Is that the plan?
No, but the good thing about trying to replace an income doing different gig economy stuff is you only have to, if I only have to replace $65,000 a year, it's not that hard.
I mean, you can hoe out three nights a week and do that.
I'm telling you, 3 nights a week and still give myself a couple of months off here and there.
I think there are a lot of women our age that would appreciate the Fred Garvin references you're going to have to make.
I'm telling you. No, I think you're right. But no, I'm
Roger
done.
You roundly.
Roger, yes. I make about $65,000 a year. And so it's certainly scary to be thinking about wanting to do something different so I can actually work on some of these creative endeavors I've gotten. I got an offer to go spend a week up in Toronto working on a script for a Lifetime Christmas movie that I can't do because I teach.
Complete non sequitur, but since we're talking about old people's age, I've been rewatching Cheers. I think like I'm on season 5 or something right now. This is taking a while. I watched like an episode a night, so it's going to take literally a year to get through. How old would you how old would you think Cliff Clavin was supposed to be on that show?
Oh, late 50s, early 60s.
He was 37 in season 5.
God.
So if you want to feel like you couldn't make money as a male prostitute, that is what people thought in the 80s a 37-year-old looked like. And he was playing low for his age because he was 40 at that point in season 5.
Oh,
so when he started that show, he's 32.
Wow.
The character was 32. He was 34.
I'm completely blown away. I thought he was at the end of his.
If you're feeling bad about anybody watching, if you're feeling bad about the way you look, imagine you look like John Ratzenberger at 30, who looked like a 60-year-old man.
I mean, I guess him and Norm were supposed to be the same age, but Norm looks his age.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I feel so much there, and that's a great way to leave it. Everybody now feels better about their life. Andy, you've done it for us.
This is the rat holes I get down watching 80s sitcoms.
Yeah, you know what? And hopefully by the time I roll up here for our show on Friday, I've seen the movie Weapons. I've not seen it yet, so hopefully that will happen.
I had wanted to get that done, and unfortunately, again, moving my daughter in this weekend took all of the energy.
Well, maybe one of us will get to it before it's all. Wow, I just got a comment. Somebody said that Coach, oh my God, this can't be right. That Coach was 43 years old.
I think we have to fact check that online. Ernie Panatuzzo.
That's, oh my, but I mean, it checks out. He's about 10 years older than. Oh, wow. Well, we do age better than we did. And it's like not even close.
All right, let me get it. Nicholas Colastanto, who played Coach Ernie Panatuzzo, was born in 1924. So, that was just a joke. So, no, he died at 61, so he was not quite 43. But, if you like the Golden Girls.
But here you go. Archie Bunker was only 50 in All in the Family.
Yeah. Now, Carroll O'Connor was an old man when he was a teenager.
Yeah. So for as much as I did not see that he admitted to kidding. Man, you really, Danny. I haven't had any. My wife left for Portland for work at 4 a.m, and I did not go back to bed.
Can I go work for your wife? I want to go to Portland.
Yeah, Yeah, you can't buy anything at the Walmart because the Walmart's closed because of crime. But go ahead.
That's fine. I got crime here.
Yeah,
It's good.
But at least Archie Bunker. But then again, you're 50. I turn 50 next year. We don't look like we're Archie Bunker's age.
I'm 54, sir.
You still don't look like you're Archie Bunker. Well, Danny, you really made my day.
So, all of you look in the mirror. You don't look as old as John Ratzenberger.
Yeah.
Even if you are as old as John Ratzenberger, you don't look that old. So congratulations to you.
What a great way to go. All right, that's a good place to leave it. Danny, you totally made my day. For Andy, I'm Jim. This has been Off Day with Ballpark Nation. We will see you hopefully after the Astros have swept El Tigres.
We'll be back here crying about it Thursday.
Well,